وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, allow us to talk about the greatest books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has descended to mankind. See, all the prophets are gone and their miracle is gone with them, except for the final messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Like at the time of Jesus, peace be upon him, he was able by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure the deceased by the will of Allah. Those who were sick, those who had problems, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At his time there were people that were advanced in medicine. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent Isa alayhi salatu wasalam to prove what he was doing by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was a miracle. The same thing with Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. At his time, people were advanced in magic. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, and we all know the story of Musa. And the final messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, at his time there was a lot of poetry. People who were expert in the Arabic language. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has descended this book, and it actually descended, subhanallah, for approximately 23 years. From the first word Iqra to the last verse from the Quran, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. Fear a day that shall return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For 23 years, that's why there's surahs which is called Makkiyah, and there's surahs which is called Madaniyah. That means they descended in Mecca, and some surahs descended in Medina. And it descended depending on the occasions, depending on the circumstances. Subhanallah al-Azim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has challenged the Arab pagans at 3 different places. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said a beautiful verse in the Quran, please pay attention to it. Allah has said subhanahu wa ta'ala to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to say to the people, قُلْ إن كنتم في ريب مما نزلنا على عبدنا فأتوا بسورة من مثله. If you doubt what we've descended on our slave, then come up with a chapter. One chapter. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said وَلَئِنْ اجْتَمَعَتِ الْإِنسُ وَالْجِنُّ على أن يأتوا بمثل هذا القرآن لا يأتون بمثله ولو كان بعضهم لبعض ظهيرا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just imagine that. That if all mankind were to get together, and all jinn, and they had one objective, one aim, to make like the Quran, they will not be able, even though that they are supporters of one another. So they weren't able to make like the Quran. And they weren't able to make 10 surah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the challenge so simple to a surah. And they weren't able. These Arabs, who were perfect in the Arabic language, and mind you, this challenge will remain until day of resurrection. Come on, you Arab Christians. Come on, you Coptics, you Maronites in Lebanon, you Ashuri in Iraq. You guys claim that you're perfect in the Arabic language, perfect in grammar. If you were to all get together with the spirits, the jinn, and they were to actually help you and assist you, you will not be able to make like the surah of the Quran. Subhanallah al-Azim. In the Quran, there are stories of righteous people, like the prophets, the pious people, the pious women. ضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا. امرأة مين؟ امرأة مين أولا؟ نوح. وامرأة you guys are confused, huh? ضرب الله مثلا للذين كفروا. امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given an example to those who disbelieve. The wife of Nuh, first of all, Nuh. And then Lut. كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا صالحين. They were underneath the authority of 2 righteous men فَخَانَتَهُمَا. They betrayed them. Subhanallah. And the betrayal, listen to me please. The betrayal of these women to their husbands is not وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ an unchaste betrayal. The wives, all the wives of the prophets are chaste in regards of the intimate relationship. I want you to understand this. All the wives were genuine and they were honest in regards to their intimate relationship with their spouse. As for these two women, they have betrayed their husbands in regards of belief. They disbelieved in their husbands as prophets. They disbelieved in worshiping one God. They associated with God others. Subhanallah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given an example of this great woman, Asya. ضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا. امرأة مين؟ فرعون. Amazing story. This amazing woman who stood against this arrogant Pharaoh who claimed that he's God. And why would she need to do this? It allows us to talk about sacrifice. Why would she need to do this? She's living in the best of place, in a palace that beneath flows water. They had servants and they've had gold and they've got everything. Why would she do this? She said, قالت ربي ابن لي عندك بيتا في الجنة. Oh Allah, build a house for me beside you. She has chosen the neighbor before she has chosen the place. عندك. And they used to look at her when they were throwing rocks at her and she was laughing. Because when you have this faith in your heart, as Bilal radiallahu anhu al-Habashi, when you have faith in your heart, and it's really captured in your heart, you don't care what people say. And you don't care how they harm you. قالت رب ابن لي عندك بيتا في الجنة ونجني. She didn't say from my husband. ونجني من فرعون وعمله. Oh Allah, save me from Pharaoh and his deed and his corrupt people, his oppressive people. Subhanallah. Look at the sacrifice. She knows that Jannah, you have to sacrifice. It's not for free. So these stories, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is that so we can ponder upon them. So we can look at the good and follow them. Look at the bad and abstain from them. Allah Azza wa Jalla said about Ibrahim, كان إبراهيم أمة. Just imagine this. Ibrahim عليه الصلاة والسلام, he was a nation by himself. At one stage he was the only Muslim on the face of the earth, and Allah has said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's ummah, he's a nation. If you're on the truth, don't care about what anyone says. Amazing story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the young men. إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. And they were young men that they believed in Allah, and we increased them in faith. Allah tells us about Qarun. This man, he said, أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ مِنْ عِنْدِي. I have obtained this wealth through my intellect, through my knowledge, through my ideas. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. We've opened the floor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we've opened the ground, and he was swallowed in it and whatever he has. These stories for us to recognize. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about what happened and what will happen. Allah tells us about Isa عليه الصلاة والسلام. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that Allah will ask him a question the day of judgment. And Allah knows best. وقال الله يا عيسى ابن مريم أأنت قلت للناس اتخذوني وأمي إلهين من دون الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful. To that extent, the day of judgment, he calls upon Isa. He would say, oh Isa, أأنت قلت, did you say to people to take you and your mother as lords besides Allah? أأنت قلت للناس اتخذوني وأمي إلهين من دون الله. قال سبحانه. He said, glory, all glory belongs to you. ما كان لي أن أقول ما ليس لي بحق. It is not befitting upon me to say what is not true. ما قلت لهم إلا ما أمرتني به أن اعبدوا الله ربي وربكم. I've only said to them what you've commanded me with. To worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. That's what I've told them. That's it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even tells us about a khutbah for the shaitan. خطبة نعم خطبة. وقال الشيطان لما قضي الأمر نسأل الله العفو والعافية. Shaitan will say when the affair has ended, when people go into heaven and people go into hell and people roam around Shaitan, they'll come up to him and they'll start complaining, you're the one who caused this and you're the one who... And listen to what the Shaitan says. He said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَعَدَكُمْ وَعَدَ الْحَقِّ وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. Shaitan would say, Allah has promised you the promise of truth. You do good, you go to heaven. You do bad, you go to hell. وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ. And I've also promised you, but I've betrayed you. And listen what he says. Listen to what he says, this evil Shaitan. He said, وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا أَنْ دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. He said, I had no authority over you, except that I've called you. Let's go to the disco. Let's go to the casino. Let's check this young girl. Let's steal. Let's rob. That's all. Shaitan has no power. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضَعِيفًا. Indeed, the abomination of Shaitan is weak. But we make him strong when we distance ourselves away from Allah. We make him strong when we don't say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. We make him strong when we وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ come near him with just mere temptation. Shaitan defends himself, and I'm here to defend him. Shaitan would say, وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ. I had no authority over you except that I've called you. فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. You've responded to me. And then he would say, فَلَا تَلُومُونِي. Blame me not. فَلَا وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Only blame yourself. Shaitan defends himself. And he's right. He has no authority over us. We've given him authority by submitting to him and not submitting to Allah. You know what he will say, my dear respected brothers and sisters, when we make sajda? When we read a tilawa of the Quran and we make sajda, he sits and he cries. He would say that the son of Adam has been commanded to make sujood, and he has, and he'll enter into paradise. And I've been commanded to make sujood, and I'll refuse, and I'll go to hell. Allahu Akbar. Look at the opportunities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows upon us. This Quran tells us the destiny of those people who are righteous, those people who are committed. Their destiny, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, إِنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ يَهْدِي لِلَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ. Indeed, this Quran guides to what is high, to what is superior. This Quran, Wallahi al-Azim, will lift your status and position. This Quran is medication. This Quran is medication. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاء. شِفَاء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, we descend what is in the Quran, shifa, cure, remedy, wa rahmah, and mercy, a sense of happiness, a sense of tranquility. Lil mu'mineen, to the believers. To the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Indeed, the believers. الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. The believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about the character of the believers. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned, their hearts, they feel Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. And when the verses of Allah is recited upon them, it increases them in faith. وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. And they put their trust and confidence in Allah. All these things that I've mentioned, they are the action of the heart. No one can see it except for you and Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that if you are here for His sake, or you're here to just fool around and muck around and joke around and not to take anything seriously. Allah knows. And then Allah describes the character, the appearance. وَالَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ. And those who perform prayer. Because many people say, Iman is here, is in my heart. If it doesn't show you, if it doesn't show on your actions, then I'm sorry, I don't believe that there is Iman in your heart. If Iman is in your heart, then you pray, you pay zakat. You show mercy upon Muslims and non-Muslims. You show mercy upon animals. A prostitute, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven her evil sins because she what? She gave water to a dog. She was into a well. She was in a well. She drank some water, came out, realized that a thirsty dog is so thirsty, it's licking the turab, the dust. She went back down, scooped some water, put it in her mouth, went up and gave it to a dog, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven her evil sins. How merciful is Allah? We need to know Allah a little bit more. This Quran is shifa. Wallahi al-azim, it is shifa. With my profession, I have been reading upon people that have been possessed and bewitched for the last 20 years. Uqsumu billahi al-azim, I'm making an oath by Allah. This Quran is so powerful that if I'm reading on a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim that is possessed or bewitched, the whole body shakes. Uqsumu billahi al-azim. I once read on a man, he was a Christian and he was Serbian. I read on him Quran and his body was trembling like this. Then I read on some water and tried to give him some water. His mouth, subhanallah, it was so fast, it was refusing the water. I put a bit of water and he'd say, it's burning me, it's burning me. Uqsum billahi al-azim. This Quran is so powerful. It is so strong upon those who, wal-iyadu billah, disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm talking about spirits, shayateen. So let us take the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, إِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. Indeed, we're going to descend on you words that are heavy. This Quran is so heavy. For that reason, when reverts embrace Islam, try not to teach them all Islam within a day or two. Take it easy on. Islam, our religion, the laws of it, it is difficult for a person to fulfill it straight away. That's why when Muhammad sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal to Yemen, he said, إِنَّكَ لَتَأْتِي قَوْمًا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ. You'll be approaching the people of the book. He said, أَوَّلْ مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَيْهِ شَهَادَةَ أَنَّ. The first thing that you should call them for is to bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship but one, and that Muhammad is his slave and messenger. That's the first thing. And then command them to pray 5 times during the day and night. And then tell them to take money from their rich and give it back to their poor. So it's step by step. And that's something that we need to talk about, my dear respected brothers and sisters, in regards of da'wah. To place things in priorities. Don't talk about things that could be insignificant for that person. Talk about the oneness of Allah. Talk about things that are relevant to that specific person. So the Quran is shifa by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the halal and haram. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the halal, what a Muslim can fulfill, and the haram. Many verses of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, أُحِلَّ لَكُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَحُرِّمْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. Good things, tasty things, healthy things are halal. Khaba'ith, things that harm you, are haram. Everything that harms you. Some of you might say, well, I didn't see a verse in the Quran that says that, for example, ice or amphetamine or heroin is haram. Everything that harms you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran, it is haram, khaba'ith. وَحُرِّمْ عَلَيْكُمْ الْخَبَائِثِ.